Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer and welcome to another Pokemon Challenge. Last week we did the first part of a Gem 3 double header as we took on Pokemon Fire Red to see if I could beat it with just a single Bagon. That run was fun and more than a little interesting in places. Today though, it's time to face something I know is going to be awful as we answer the question of whether or not I can beat Pokemon Emerald with just a single Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil is the Gen 2 Fire starter. We know how well Fire types do in Hoenn. 309 base stat total, with the best stats being Special Attack with 60 and Speed with 65. Our worst is HP at 39 and Defense at 43. 309 is the same as Charmander, Chimchar and randomly Phantump. Type-wise, we're weak to Rock, Ground and Water. We resist Bug, Steel, Fire, Grass and Ice. There's more trainers in this game who use what we're weak to than what we resist, which is worrying. Our natural learn set is pretty bad. There's a lot of normal and fire moves. Flamethrower will be nice, but maybe not super useful barring a few fights. Mainly, we're known as Skarmory and Sydney's Shiftry. Oh, and Cacturn. Oh, and Glacier's Glalie as well, obviously. Our TM list is pretty poor as well. We do get Dig and Return, but beyond that, there's not much sort of coverage. Aerial Ace could potentially be useful, but it's hard to say. Even via Move Tutor, we don't get much. Maybe I can do something with Rollout, but I wouldn't bet the family farm on it. So yeah, we get lousy coverage. I really hope we either get a Water, Grass or Ghost Hidden Power. Probably Grass would be most desirable. Here are my predictions. Roxanne could be tricky if I'm honest. We're probably going to have to brute force her, which could take a lot of levels since we don't get anything that even hits her for normal damage, never mind super effective. I think the Psychic Gym might possibly be the worst thing ever. Juan and Wallace are probably going to be close in terms of levels of fun of hair tearing. Drake might be pretty bad too. I think we're going to have to be level 100 to win this, and more than likely we will have to resort to double team for Wallace. If you do enjoy what you see, then hit that like button, smash that subscribe button and click on the comments section. Just the rules then. In combat, I can only use Cyndaquil. Other Pokemon will be needed for HMs but unable to fight. No items in battle beyond held items and Pokeballs, but I can heal outside of battles. Last of all, no glitches or exploits. I don't have to make huge changes to the scope of the game, but I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Torchic with Cyndaquil so that I can do the whole run with it. It's one starter Pokemon for another. When Professor Birch gives me the Pokemon, I nickname it Kid, since it's based on an echidna. Kid has the naughty nature, so increased attack and lowered special defense. Ouch. That could be a problem when we get around to the water trainers. Mind you, I was toying with EV training his physical attack anyway, so it's good in that respect. Attack and speed EVs then. Poochyena and Zigzagoon. I need to knock as many of them out as I can. Given most of the coverage we'll be using, normal and ground, use the primary attack stat, then it makes sense to train that. So I go and hunt these two Pokemon, leaving the Wurmple population free to grow rampant. Mind you, I get to level 14 and go after May. This fight won't be too bad, we've got a huge level advantage, but the first major fight of the game versus Roxanne, I genuinely think will need to be at least level 20 to win, at least. So, I'm not too upset about all the grinding I'm doing. The May fight goes quickly as Kid faces Kip, Mudkip, and knocks it out with 2 tackles. Back to the grinding board. And I keep going until I reckon they're maxed out. I wish there was a menu which told you in-game exactly how many EVs you had and how many you needed. They can do it in ROM hacks, just lazy from Nintendo, especially now, in these days. I think I will need to be a high level for Roxanne. The best move we'll likely get is Ember, which is going to be resisted, so, as much as we've been training that attack stat, Quick Attack is going to be resisted so much more. I think we're going to have to brute force her with extreme prejudice. Hope for burns and Rock Tomb misses, because even the Geodude can likely mess us up. I tackle her at level 25, and even then, Rock Tomb does a stack of damage. We 2-hit the first Geodude, but the second one is even more annoying. But at least she burns through her potions on it, both of them, so that's something. We go into Nose Pass and get the burn on the first turn with Ember, before surviving a Rock Tomb with 13 HP left. I then decide to strangle the life out of the battle and use Smokescreen 5 times to avoid the Rock Tomb that will probably be fatal. Thankfully, it goes to block on the next turn rather than trying to inflict damage. Probably not the most entertaining of battles, but it was something that likely needed to be done. It had been difficult at a lower level. Eventually, once I've got 5 smoke screens up and the burn has sapped away at it, I land a few embers and knock it out. On the way out of Rustborough, I do stop to fight May, but it's hardly worth talking about, given the level advantage we've built up. I can see us being good for the next few gyms now. The next real challenge might potentially be the fire gym and Flannery's torque hole, maybe the normal gym, but those aside, we should be good. The reason I mention Flannery's torque hole is that we struggle a bit versus May's. It uses Curse twice and shrugs off our quick attacks, but Flame Wheel finishes it. When Mudkip comes out, 2 quick attacks do defeat it, but it does land a water gun. That aside, it's a straightforward fight. In Dewford, I go after Brawley. His Makahita can be a bit unpredictable, so we're not set up great for dealing with it now. It has thick fat, so it will resist fire moves and bulk up, so it'll shrug off quick attack. Anyway, we try him and see how we do. Machop and Meditite are both one hits with Flame Wheel. That's pretty fortunate. It means we don't have to spend ages dealing with them, especially since Meditite knows Light Screen, which would have screwed us. Makahita is annoying though. The first quick attack does good damage, but it uses bulk up twice, and thanks to a combination of the berry it holds and Brawley using super potions, it takes ages to knock it out. I do eventually switch to Flame Wheel to damage it, even getting another fortunate burn on the target, which weakens its attack stat. Without that burn, I doubt we win this fight. We get tagged with Vital Throw and Reversal, but survive on 9 HP. Thankfully, our Blaze ability powers up our fire moves and we do take it out before it can finish us. The next major fight is the one with May underneath Cycling Road. It's usually the hardest one, this one, but we've got enough of an advantage level wise that it's not that bad. Lombre goes down to 2 quick attacks, only hitting a weak Astonish, so we are in good shape going into Slugma, who goes down to a single quick attack. Marsh Stomp is harder though. It survives quick attack and then hits a pretty brutal mud shot that wipes out a lot of our health before we take it out on the second attempt. Outside the Morville gym, there's the Wally fight, and it's really not worth talking about, as a single quick attack knocks his Ralts plumb out cold without any sort of rebuttal. That was simple. Next is Watson, and this one can be hard, but given that we've got a pretty good way of dealing with his Magneton, I'm not too worried. If we can avoid paralysis, we'll be fine. Thankfully, on the last gym trainer, we hit level 36 and learned Swift, which is handy because with Pokemon who have static, the golden rule is to not touch them if you don't have to, and our attack stat is pretty good. Swift knocks Voltorb out without it getting the chance to reply. Swift also takes Electrike out in a single hit. So far, definitely so good. Magneton then goes down to a solo Flame Wheel, which is even better. Manectric is problematic as it survives Swift and then hits Thunder Wave. We land 2 Swifts sandwiched by a Flame Wheel to take it out, but between it using Howl and Shockwave, it does manage to deal some damage to us. Nowhere near as close a fight as the previous 2 gyms though, so that's something. The next massive fight is the Mount Chimney Maxi fight, and this one always has the potential to be interesting. It is very interesting indeed, as Mightyena comes out and intimidates Kid. A Flame Wheel isn't enough to knock it out. He heals it, and just before I can finish it off, he swaps it in for Camerupt, who does tank Flame Wheel quite well. The next bit was the turning point of the battle, as I called for Dig and Camerupt went for Magnitude. It was only a weak one, at Magnitude 5, but it did do massive damage as we were underground. Thankfully, we survived with a quarter of our health left and Dig did knock it out. A Blaze-powered Flame Wheel is then enough to finish off the again healed Mightyena and Zubat shortly after. We won, but it wasn't a pretty fight. Flannery is the next major battle. We'll have to see how this one goes because there's potential for it to go badly wrong. Sure, we resist her primary typing, but there's still potential for her to hurt us if we're not careful. Camerupt and Torkoal both have the massive potential to be annoying as they both know Attract. Plus, it's always annoying negotiating the way around her gym. Numel goes down to Swift when the battle starts, and afterwards Slugma goes the same way. Both Slugma and Magcargo are actually ridiculously weak. We do hit level 46 during the fight and learn Flamethrower though. Camerupt is hugely annoying. I hit a Swift for about 2/3 of its health and it lands a Tract. I figure that she'll heal and I go for Dig, managing to get under the ground while she misses tackle, but then there's a litany of spurned chances as Kid stands there hopelessly in love with the volcanic camel. I wonder if she actually knows any ground moves here, because if she did and used them, this would have been a loss. Eventually, and it feels like eternity, we take it out with Swift. I go for Dig versus Torkoal. A Tract fails to land before it uses Body Slam when we deal big damage to it. The Fire Turtle paralyses Kid and drops his health low. Thankfully, it's enough to activate Blaze, and as a result, we can take it out with a powered up Flamethrower. Next major battle is versus Norman. Let's go take on our dad. One thing I do go and do before this fight is get the TM for return. We're under level 50, we're a first form Pokemon, and our attack is in 3 figures, so we should be able to get some use out of it given how much love and affection has been piled on Kid. Norman is another one of those fights who can be annoying, especially in Emerald. I'll probably want to avoid Flamethrower because burning his Pokemon is not going to end well for me, thanks to the move Facade. This one though might be up there with the easiest, as first Spinder goes down to just a single return, and then Vigoroth is one hit by the very same move in quick succession. That went well. Vigoroth can be quite nasty. Linoone goes down to a solo return before slacking is last. It can only attack once every 2 turns, so instead of going for return, I go for Smokescreen, and it's a good job I did, since it tries and fails with counter. I start returning and Smokescreening on alternate turns. It fails with counter once again, thanks to our smoke, and the very next return is a crit that takes it out from high health. That was pretty nice. Now that we've beaten him and got Surf, we can head to the east of the region. It's nice to have a few simple gyms, all before I inevitably have to grind to level 80 or something for the Psychic Gym. Anyway, there's the Weather Institute to clear out before another fight with May. The Lombre goes down to return but lands a Fake Out first, though it's the only damage Kid gets tagged with throughout, as Slugma also goes down to return, and when Marsh Stomp comes out last, return also knocks it out in just a single hit. In Four Tree City, there's the Flying type gym leader, Winona, who I'm not too concerned about. Sure, she has a couple of Pokemon who could potentially be annoying, like Pelipper and Altaria, but with the level advantage, we should be good until we get to Moss Deep City. My prediction about her annoying Pokemon is spot on. Swablu goes down to return, but when Pelipper comes out, it manages to survive it. Pelipper is surprisingly physically tanky, but 3 returns down it after she heals. Altaria goes down to 2 returns without Kid getting hit, thanks to her only using Dragon Dance and a berry taking it out of healing range. Skarmory goes down to Flamethrower before Tropius comes out last, and it goes down the same way. Let's move on. In Lilycove City, there is the final May fight of the game, so I might as well get that out of the way. Tropius is a one-shot with Flamethrower. We burn its ass into grass before Slugma goes down to return. Marsh Stomp quickly follows after getting smashed out with the same move, and finally Ludicolo is taken out with the same move. That was quick. There's a few things to do before we can get to the next gym. There's a fight with Maxi in the Magma Hideout, for instance. This fight is usually awkward, even with a level advantage. Mightyena isn't a problem here. We one-hit it with Flamethrower, but that Intimidate is unhelpful. When Camerupt comes out, we're capable of hitting it for about 2/3 of its health with return, but he heals it, and then we return it, and then he heals it again, and then we kind of knock it out. See? Aggravated. At least he didn't attack. When Crobat comes out, we hit Flamethrower, but it counters with a Confuse Ray and a Wing Attack, which combined with Kid hitting himself in confusion, it deals massive damage, taking out over half our health. But Kid shakes it off and finishes Crobat off with Flamethrower. I always forget where to go here. I always forget to go to Slateport next and end up tramming it back to Lilycove and realising I can't do anything yet. Anyway, I do all that stuff and make my way to the Moss Deep Gym, and the thing I've been dreading. I'm level 65 going into this fight, and it may very well not be enough. Tate and Liza are horrific in single Pokemon runs. I think Claydol might have to be the first to go, because if I'm getting nailed by Earthquake every turn, I'm not going to last very long. Of course, even if I one-hit it, there's still the risk of Xatu confusing Kid. And then there's Solrock and Lunatone. we've got nothing that can hit them for super effective damage. Dig would do the job, but they have Levitate. Anyway, we do find a King's Rock on pickup, and this does come in useful as we flinch Claydol with Return, but Xatu knocks out our Wynot with Psychic. A second Return takes Claydol out, and Xatu buffs with Calm Mind. Unfortunately, Return is just not strong enough to one-hit Xatu, even with a 24 level advantage. Lunatone buffs with Calm Mind and then hits Kid with Psychic attacks as we try, in vain, to knock Xatu out. The two gym leaders healing the bird repeatedly. I knew this would be awful. Let's try again later. One thing I can do is see what type our hidden power is. Grass would be just exceptional. It would be useful for both Wan and Wallace as well as here. Mind you, Ghost would be awesome for here because at least that would use our physical attack stat. Unfortunately, it's the flying type, which helps in absolutely no way, shape or form. Guess I reset my game and go and grind. I figure I'll try again about level 70. We should be able to strike Xatu down by then. Hopefully I can get the Shell Bell too because we'll need the HP recovery. Second attempt goes badly as we get 2 hit by Claydol's Earthquake. This time we don't get any flinches. We can one-hit Xatu, but any blows we land on Claydol bring it into healing range. It's a real conundrum. I'll try again soon after the tide goes down in Shoal Cave and I can get the items I need. A bit later and I still can't get into Shoal Cave, but I try again at level 72 with the Lax Incense to see if I can lower their accuracy enough that they don't hit me as often. It's worth a try. I hate this battle. Mind you, next week we're doing a Gem 4 Sinnoh game, so there's even more hated double battle shenanigans there. We're getting closer to be able to one-hit Claydol. I knock Xatu out while they heal the Claydol. I even check out of curiosity just to see how much damage Return does to Lunatone, and it's not bad considering it resists the move. A few more levels and a little stronger and I totally reckon we could do this. I just need the passage of time to flow so that I can get that Shell Bell. With the amount of damage I was doing, I'd restore a decent chunk of health each turn I reckon. Without that health recovery, I do not think we can win this. While I'm doing the mega grind to pass the time, I figure I've got a chance to talk to you a bit about some of the other projects I've got in mind. I'm still plugging away at Legends Arceus, still releasing episodes of my playthrough of that. Check it out, BT Dubs, if you're interested. That's been a great experience so far. I'm still doing survival horror stuff. I finished Resident Evil Revelations 1 and I'm currently recording a playthrough of Dino Crisis 2. If you're into that, it might already be on my channel come the time that you see this. Links to all my playlists will be in the description below. Anyway, there's a good chance you're not here about survival horror, you're here about Pokemon. And I'm definitely interested in doing type-themed challenge runs through ROM hacks. So, if you've got any suggestions for anything like that, please drop a comment below or go to my Twitter or Discord. Links are in the description once again. I mean, I'm looking at Kanto Black at this moment in time. I'm looking at Pokemon Unbound, Pokemon Swords, Pokemon Fire Red Omega, Pokemon Altered, Theta Emerald, but suggestions are pretty much welcomed away. I've played some of these games for Let's Plays, but most of them have fizzled out. So yeah, any suggestions or inputs, go on. I still plan on doing solo Pokemon runs, but maybe mixing it up every now and then. Anyway, I've rabbited enough. The one thing I will add is that I've been on YouTube seriously for nearly a year now, and thanks to everyone who has ever taken the time to sit down and watch one of my videos, even if only briefly because they don't like the quality or they think I'm an idiot. It's the thought that counts. I've been doing a video a day minimum since July last year and I've enjoyed every moment of it, especially these challenges. They are my most popular videos by and large, and although I'm not huge, I still appreciate anyone who does find me and watch me. Anyway, back to the game. Level 75, still no low tide, but let's see how this one goes. Lax Incense back on, back into the fray. Something has to give here surely. Another attempt. I actually forgot to put the Lax Incense on, but I'm not sure it would have made a difference. We take Xatu out, but Claydol 2 hits us with Earthquake, even when we're 34 levels higher. Still, we're getting closer and closer to taking out the Quake machine. Level 77, I do try again, this time making sure I have actually got the Lax Incense on. This attempt, I do actually one-hit Claydol, though not with the first move of the battle. Too bad that we do get clipped by Earthquake, plus 2 Psychics, one from Xatu and one from Lunatone, and it's enough to render the battle over before there's even the chance to keep on going. I grind again, this time up to level 80. There's one thing. The last bit of the game should be easy enough once we get this out of the way. Something then occurs to me and I head to Bulbapedia to see if and where I can find a Silk Scarf in this game, since I'm intent on the return strategy. There is, and it's in Dewford, so I tram back there. And with the Silk Scarf on, we can one-hit Claydol from full health, meaning we don't take Earthquake damage. Xatu still knocks Wynaut out, but we take it out with return. Solrock is a 2-hit with return. It lands a Psychic that does minimal damage, while Lunatone uses a Calm Mind and keeps using Calm Mind. That is a little scary. As Solrock goes down, the battle becomes a one-on-one, and I turn my attention to Lunatone. The nice thing is that return does enough damage to trigger their berries and still have them in knockout range for the second blow, so they never get a chance to heal their Pokemon with potions. Well, thank Arceus, that's over. Next is the Archie fight, and this could be interesting. At least with the level advantage we've built up, we should be able to hit him hard. Mightyena is a one-hit with Flamethrower, but I'm a bit worried about that Intimidate. Crobat is next, and that's also a one-hit with Flamethrower. Last is Sharpedo, and it goes down to a single return. The rough skin giving us the only damage of the fight. Considering he Mega Evolves it in Oras, this fight isn't anywhere near as bad as it could be. Anyway, at last we've got the Water Gym. I put the Silk Scarf back on Kid and think that this shouldn't be anywhere near as bad as it could be. We're level 82 going into it, so we should have enough power behind us to brute force Juan. I hope we do anyway. For the most part, he isn't a problem. Love Disc is a one-hit with return. For that, read Celio and Whiscash, and Crawdont for that matter. They're all single-hit takedowns with return. Kingdra is just about strong enough to survive it though, and that thing both knows and uses Double Team, which is annoying. Juan heals it, we hit it again, and it narrowly survives before he heals it once again. But a third return, Juan hits it, which makes me thankful that the damage range came up in our favour. This does not bode well for facing Drake's Kingdra in the Elite Four. We've got all the badges and so can hit Victory Road. Here we've got a fight with Wally, but I'm not exactly concerned about him, and I'm right not to be, as it's a one-shot sweep through him. Altaria goes down to a sole return before Delcatty is sparked out in the same way. Magneton and Roselia both quickly go down to a Flamethrower apiece before Gardevoir is the last to come out and promptly goes down to a sole return. After fighting my way through Victory Road, I stand in Evergrande City and the Pokemon Center, and here are our stats at level 86. Our speed and attack are pretty good. Our special attack isn't bad either, but both defense stats and HP leave much to be desired. I must confess to some worry going forward. I think we'll need to be level 100 to get past Drake and Wallace, but we'll see. Comment if you think we've got a chance at this level or not. I go for Sydney with the Silk Scarf attached. I'll definitely need return to be as strong as possible, and we're going to be intimidated at the start, so it might mitigate some of the damage reduction. So, fun fact, we very quickly discover we're not ready for Sydney. Thanks to Intimidate, his Mightyena is just about strong enough to survive return, and it hits a sand attack. We do take it out, but Absol is the same. It's strong enough to survive return, and thanks to a combination of Swords Dance and Rock Slide, it manages to one-hit Kid from full health. Grind then, and I go back at level 90. This should prove to be a tipping point. Mightyena does Intimidate, but as we one-hit it, it does not get a chance to land Sand Attack. Return also finishes Absol off with a single hit. So far, so good. Crawdont is made of tougher stuff, surviving return, and Sydney heals it, but 2 more returns take it out before Shiftry and Cacturn both go down to Flamethrower. Versus Phoebe, I give Kid the Charcoal to boost the Flamethrower. We're not going to need return in this fight, and unfortunately, it's a narrow loss. I smokescreen when the first Dusclops uses Protect, but it survives Flamethrower and uses Curse. It takes itself out, but the damage is done. We crit the second Dusclops but take curse damage. We knock the first Bayonet out but take curse damage. We knock out Sableye but take curse damage. Second Bayonet comes out and we go down to curse damage. If this was Gen 2, we'd have won that fight. So, I need to hit harder then. I'll grind up to level 92 and then see how we do. I've got 8 rare candies and I have a feeling I might be using them shortly. Anyway, we do beat Phoebe at the second attempt, but burn through a lot of flamethrower PP in the attempt, as the first Dusclops never goes for curse, but does spam protect a few times, which is aggravating. Combined with her healing it, it's a relief when it goes down. The second one does go down to 2 flamethrowers, but lands an earthquake. I hate those things with pressure. Anyway, once the second one goes down, it's Berry taking it out of healing range. Kid soon scorches through the rest of them, taking out Bayonet, Sableye, and the second Bayonet with a series of flamethrower attacks. That's a relief. Phoebe has the potential to be horrifying with her stall tactics. Good thing I'm not going to need flamethrower again, much. Glacier is next, and on the surface, as an Ice-type trainer, we should have an advantage. On the surface anyway, but in Gens 1 to 3, a lot of Ice-types, it feels, were also Water-type. Dugong, Cloyster, Lapras, Walrein. Okay, maybe less than I thought, but it doesn't change the fact that 3 of her Pokemon can seriously screw us up, potentially, with water moves. We do actually do pretty well against her. We dropped the first Celio with Return. That was easy, at least it didn't set up Hail. Then, Walrein comes out and we tag it with Return, only for it to survive the blow and counter with Surf, which does well over half our health. Ouch. Anyway, the Berry takes it out of healing range and we knock it out with a second Return. Next is Glalie, who goes down to Flamethrower before the second Celio pops out and goes down to Return, before the second Glalie is taken down with Flamethrower. I make a choice ahead of Drake to replace Smokescreen with Double Team. His Shelgon likes to open with Protect, and so I might as well get something out of the stall turn. We very nearly get away with this. I Double Team versus Shelgon while it protects, and then he heals it. Unfortunately, it then tags me with Rock Tomb for a quarter of our health. I go for another Double Team, and he goes for Protect again, which is handy before I knock it out with Return. Flygon is a one hit with Return, but Salamence is next, and that thing is a monster. It intimidates us, we land Return, and it counters with Rock Slide before eating a berry, and we finish it. Kingdra, we 2-hit with Return, and it thankfully misses a Surf, which would have finished us, before Altaria comes out. We deal big damage, but it lands a Double Edge to finish us. Drat. Okay then, let's use these rare candies to bump up to level 100, try it then. I figured we were going to have to do this. We need all the power we can get. We were lucky then, and I doubt we get the same level of luck versus Wallace. Here are our stats, and we'll see how we do now. That attack stat, hopefully, can carry us through. We take out Shelgon, Flygon, and Salamence, but get taken out by Kingdra's Surf. Maybe I need to double team more perhaps, just to give me that edge. Or, the alternative is that I finally use the Shell Bell. It might get me over the line. This second attempt at level 100 goes better. We managed to get 5 double teams up versus Shelgon. I keep thinking a Protective's coming that never does. The bad news is that without the Silk Scarf, we can't quite one-hit Shelgon. Also, it lands 2 Rock Tombs, one of them through 5 double teams. I smell excrement. Rock Tomb often gives the impression in Gem 3 that it couldn't hit the broad side of a barn. Anyway, when it goes down, we take Flygon out with Return. Salamence is a 2-hit with Return, but it crucially misses 2 Rock Slides. Kingdra goes for a Dragon Dance and misses Surf, thankfully, but it goes down to 2 returns. While Altaria is also a 2-hit, but lands a strangely limp Aerial Ace in retaliation. Ah well, onto the champion. This is going to suck. I heal, pop an elixir, and then head to face Wallace. I need to get some double teams up and stat, because otherwise we're probably going to lose, and badly. Every Pokemon he has is capable of hitting us for super effective damage, and some of them can toxic poison us too. First attempt, I manage 3 double teams versus Wailord, and then get tagged with Water Spout from it, having almost full health. Uh-oh. Yeah, let's see how many efforts this takes. Second attempt goes very similarly. Only Water Spout hits us when we're both at full health, Oh, and it's raining. I guess I need to plan this carefully. Third attempt, ditto. When I make the fourth attempt, I plan accordingly. I use one turn while it sets up rain to put a double team up, and then I smash Wailord with return for big damage. When we do get hit by Waterspout, it doesn't do as much damage because it's been weakened. Waterspout does damage based on Wailord's health, so when it's weakened, it does less. Wallace heals it, I use the free turn for another double team and then bang it with return, knocking it into red health. And then I just get all my double teams up. Even when it does land Waterspouts, they do barely noticeable damage until I finally get my evasion maxed out and then finally finish off the giant whale Pokemon. That puts us in good stead. You know, the double team doesn't actually make a difference. Ludicolo is a one hit with return. Tentacruel is a one hit with dig. Whiscash goes down to a crit return. Gyarados admittedly does take 2 hits of return before going down, but it only uses Dragon Dance and never tries to attack, before Milotic comes out last and we immediately one hit it with a crit return. That went about as perfectly as it could. There is still one last fight in this game though after we enter the Hall of Fame. It's one that I've never won on a solo Pokemon run, and so I head to Meteor Falls to see if me and Kid can take on and beat Steven Stone. We couldn't do it with Growlithe, a Pokemon with an advantage over the Steel type. I'm not sure we will here, but I'm willing to make an attempt. It's ironic that the first attempt ends in the same way many of our 7th gym battle attempts did, going down to Claydol's Earthquake. Getting poisoned by Skarmory didn't help. Managing to take down that and Metagross was actually impressive though. Dealing big damage to Claydol but going down in glorious failure, that wasn't so good. Let's just see if something can give. I do eventually get a positive run where I get 2 double teams up versus Skarmory. It lands Aerial Ace and Spikes before I take it out with Flamethrower. Metagross is a 2 hit with Flamethrower, but crucially, it misses Earthquake. Claydol is a 2 hit with Return, but it also misses Earthquake before Aggron is next. It goes down to 2 Flamethrowers, but it is the 3rd Pokemon to miss Earthquake in this fight. Next is Cradily, and I don't have a good way to hurt this. I try Dig, but it does very little, so I hit it with 2 Flamethrowers and drag it down into healing range. He heals it, and I throw up another double team before burning it with the next Flamethrower. Unfortunately, he hits a crit Ancient Power, which buffs all his stats, but we do manage to take it out before it finishes us off. Versus Armaldo, I also burn it with the first Flamethrower before he lands a weak Aerial Ace. He heals it, but 2 more Flamethrowers take Armaldo out, and just like that, we've won. Okay, it wasn't clean or noble or anything like that. We had to be cheap, but we got there. I doubt we'd have won otherwise. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this run. If you did, then please don't forget to hit the like button, click on the comment section, and smash that subscribe button. It'll help you keep up to date with what I'm doing. This was fun. Easy in places, terrible in others. I don't think I'm too sad to get this one out of the way. Next week promises to be an interesting one as we return to Generation 4. Join me as I answer the question of whether or not I can beat Pokemon Pearl with just a single Bronzor. That one has potential to be horrible. I suppose we'll see. All I can say is we'll be live next week. Same time, same channel. Don't miss it. I guess all that's left to say is that this has been Once and Future Gamer answering the question of whether or not I can beat Pokemon Emerald with a single Cyndaquil. We're almost out of time, so I guess I will see you next time. Bye bye now. Have a great week. See you this time next week. Farewell.